Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry that it is super loud here right now. This is my week 33, I believe. I had to go back and just look just to be sure, but yes, it is week 33. As you can see, I am on vacation right now in South Florida, and so I have gone back and forth on whether or not I even wanted to create a video this week, seeing that I am on vacation, but there's just a lot that is going on this week. So I'm going to go and tell you guys for today's agenda. I'm going to quickly go over some of the things that are currently going on in the news. I do not have a scale, so I do not have an update for you on what my weight is. However, I will tell you there's a lot going on with that. So hopefully when I go home and you guys get the week 33 and 34 updates together, it's going to show that progress. But let's go ahead and get started and go over some kind of pertinent things that are in the news right now. Now, first of all, I'm going to tell you guys, just because I have this scene behind me, and I know that it's super loud because this is the kids' pool right down below me, please do not be jealous in any way, shape, or form, because this has been one of probably the worst weeks for me in a while. I think that we got food poisoning from some seafood that maybe set out wrong the first night we were here. And so I have kind of been battling back and forth on a daily basis with that since we've been here. My family has also been sick on and off as well. So it's just one of those vacations. So please don't be jealous of my vacation, because it's definitely been a little different. And so that's kind of why I was saying before that I felt like once I get home and I can weigh, I really have not been able to intake a whole lot since I've been here. We've all been eaten alive by mosquitoes. We cannot get enough water to save our lives. I've been drinking coconut water as well, just to try to hydrate, which also is trying to move everything out as well. So it's just been one of those weeks. I do want to go ahead and hit what's going on in GLP-1s in the news, and then that's basically going to be our whole video today. Okay, so I'm sure that you guys have probably already seen a lot of, I'll kind of clap back at them, unhinged videos about the Eli Lilly being removed from the shortage list for their tirzepatide, which then means that all of these compounders have to follow and abide by the cease and desist, because the FDA has fully removed tirzepatide from the shortage list. Now, there have been a lot, and I mean a lot, of people posting the letters, the emails that they're getting from all of their different compounding pharmacies, also asking each other what they're doing, what their options are. I am not going to get on here today because I know that a lot of these people are already down in the dumps, because they are making not only an income off of sharing, what compounder they use, but also covering the cost of their own drugs in the process of doing that. And so they are very angry, very upset, and I understand that. I, however, don't really have any kind of skin in the game when it comes to compounds. I've been on Zepbound for my entire 33 weeks now. If you guys recall, I also had the TSA agent on my way here on this travel decide to open up the gray end of my pen cap and then proceed to look down into my needle and breathe on it, which I also question if part of my sickness isn't from whatever that pleasure was that I was given on the needle that I would be injecting. No, the needle was not in any way, shape, or form bent or damaged that I could tell anyway. I just don't really appreciate some stranger opening my auto injector and breathing on it via the TSA in Louisville, Kentucky. I think that there needs to be some more training for all of the different airports on how to handle people's injection, auto injector, vials, whatever it happens to be, syringes. There's really no need for anyone to ever remove the official cap that is only supposed to be removed upon injection. So I'm not real pleased with that. And yes, my sickness could fully be from that and not from food poisoning here. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what it's from or where it came from. I'm just trying to recover and recoup from it before I head home, because being sick on an airplane is the last thing that I'm interested in. There are a lot of compounding companies that are saying that they are going to continue to send out, but they're going to pretend like it's on a per patient basis instead of batches now. One of those obviously is one of the companies that was one of the very first ones that I reviewed, that I have continued even to this day to be told that I am a fear monger in telling people that compounds are going to be going somewhere and to not utilize from such companies. However, I feel like teaching the public how to look up what it is they're receiving and to ask questions is nowhere near a fear monger. It is trying to make people more knowledgeable of what they are placing into their bodies. I've also seen a lot, and I mean a lot, of advertisers on Facebook ads that are now advertising prices as low as $129 for continued use of tirzepatide. So I think that a lot of the people who are kind of bouncing off the walls and going crazy right now, it might just be because they go through a specific platform that isn't offering it anymore, and now they're kind of scrambling, trying to figure out what to do, because just at first glance for myself, looking at what the options still are for people, there still seems to be quite a few options out there that are providing a compounded tirzepatide, regardless of if the FDA removed this from the shortage list or not. So you really just have to, yet again, know what to look for, know what kind of questions to ask, and make sure that you are, in fact, getting something that is human grade from FDA approved suppliers. Again, you guys feel free to drop down in the comments if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about that, but you can always go back and look at any of my previous videos on compounded tirzepatide to try to figure out how to look those that type of data point up for yourself as well. Again, it is all offered on the FDA website. There's been many people the past 33 weeks arguing with me that these compounding pharmacies don't have data on the FDA website, and I think I've shown in numerous videos that they in fact do, and where to find that. You also want to make sure you're checking out those state licenses. You also want to make sure that you are looking at different forums and news articles as well, just to make sure that you are not going to kind of happen upon something. I will tell everybody that I have previously worked and been working with Emerge Compounds, who was only compound tirzepatide. I'm still trying to get additional information from them on where they will be providing from. I do know that at least one of their suppliers is still supplying at this time for a compound tirzepatide. So they are still functioning. They are still sending out. And then they are also giving, of course, a compounded semaglutide option as well. When I get additional details on that, hopefully by my next video, I will let you all know what that looks like as well via Emerge. A lot of the compounders are switching straight over to a compounded semaglutide and sending it either from a different pharmacy or just sending a compounded semaglutide instead of or in place of tirzepatide. And so I would encourage everyone that if you are not interested in switching from a tirzepatide to a semaglutide, that you do need to go ahead and reach out prior to when your next fill should be from your compounding pharmacy agency platform, whatever it happens to be that you're utilizing, and make sure that you do ask questions of will they still be providing you with your compounded tirzepatide and not just automatically shipping you a semaglutide without your consent or your knowledge, so that you're still charged. That I've also seen in a lot of forums and on the platforms, that they're receiving a semaglutide in place but were never notified of this change. It's just their prescription was changed to that. You can also get on a lot of the platforms and ask them to send the Lilly cash option. Again, I believe it's $3.99 for the 2.5 and $5.49 for the 5 milligrams. My hopes are that those prices will continue to come down for the public, especially after the Novo Nordisk hearings that we had just this last week. I will also let everybody know that over in England, they are kind of pushing out Mounjaro and Zepbound even further in Europe, and the NHS in England is looking to provide the medication to a lot of their European English citizens. So You do want to continue to watch your supply of these things. Just because something has been removed from an FDA shortage list does not also mean that you're going to be able to obtain it lickety-split like we've been able to do, or like I have been able to do for the past few months now. You may still have some timing issues in between here. They are showing in their data points to the FDA, obviously, to be removed from that list, that they do have the supply to meet their current demand of prescriptions. That does not mean that they have data points showing that they can also supply everyone who was on compounds as well. And that's not going to be a set of data points that they have to show either to the FDA, because they don't know how many people are on compounded medications to have to show that type of data point for, nor are they going to be held responsible for showing that they have the supply to meet that type of demand that is an unknown demand. And that's something I think everyone does need to fully understand. There's a lot of different forums and people that are saying to reach out to your local representative and reach out to the FDA about how you are unable to obtain this now via compound and you need the compound. And personally, I'm just going to kind of tell everybody, I don't really feel like the FDA is going to care. The FDA's goal behind this is to uphold our Food and Drug Act that we have in the United States, which gives the protections to the manufacturer, to the patent holder, to the inventor, to the clinicians, to the researchers of the actual drug, not to any of the compounding pharmacies. It's also likely going to be up to a lot of the states as to whether or not their pharmacy boards start looking into any of their compounders. Obviously, we have some states that are much more lenient, like Florida, like Texas, where a lot of the larger compounding facilities are anyway. So I don't really feel like this is as big of a deal as people are making it out to be on some of the platforms. So please don't panic. I think everybody is still going to be able to obtain their medicine in some shape or form or fashion. It may just not be the exact same pharmacy or strength or cost that you previously had. So I know that's probably not what people want to hear. Unfortunately, it is the truth. Other things in the news, Eli Lilly is also going to begin testing their Zepbound medication on people who are not currently at that BMI of over 30. They're going to start testing people that are just under a BMI of 25 to try to see if they're going to be able to make a difference in people who are, quote unquote, at risk of becoming obese or pre-diabetic or diabetic. I don't really know how that will play out in the long run with the FDA and the FDA saying, okay, we're going to lower the BMI down to this. Again, I think that's probably at least a year off to see how that type of study would go. Additionally, as many of you probably know, just because the FDA sets a goal, even if the FDA were to say, okay, anyone at 24.99 BMI and above it can have access to this drug, that does not mean that the PBMs and the insurance companies are also going to align and come to agreement in that, as we've already seen through many of the medical insurances and PBMs even now. I look for both Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly to just basically start selling direct for their Tirzepatide and also their Wegovy. Roche is also out there, and they are touting that they've got a $3 billion gap that they are about to fill themselves with their obesity medication. So we're basically in this pipeline battle of who can produce, who can offer it direct to the public, and who can offer it at a price that the public is going to see is fit and willing for them to pay. Another news that I myself am a little bit nervous about, just because, as you all know, I have used the Weight Watchers Clinic to obtain my Zepbound basically since the start. My local doctor's office, God love them, I don't even want to say that they try. I just want to say that they exist at this point. They take my blood work, they report that blood work out to me, and then that's basically all my local office is capable of doing at this point, because they cannot get a prescription out to the correct facility in the correct fashion or a PA approved to save their lives. So I use Weight Watchers Clinic for all of my PA work, all of my financial work going out to insurances, as well as my monthly prescription. So I only get 1 month at a time. I'm sure if my local endocrinologist could get it together, I would likely be able to fill 3 months at a time. However, they just, for whatever reason, can't. They can't. I don't know. And I really just get very frustrated trying to correct them of where things have been sent. So I don't anymore. The Weight Watchers CEO was ousted in the past week. So the woman who was on the Oprah special and all of the other specials that was apologizing for how Weight Watchers has treated people and made people feel in the past and made people who remain obese despite the Weight Watchers general points plus or whatever it happens to be called program is no longer there. That no one really knows what that means for the sequence in Weight Watchers Clinic and if it's going to continue or if it's not going to continue, if they're going to try to build more into it or how that's going to go. My hopes are, knock on wood and everything that I have, that they decide to put more money into it. I really do feel that it is a great program. You get nutritionists, you get a fitness specialist, you get a clinician who specializes in weight loss, you get your own care team, and you also get the whole financial team behind it as well. They're also there to answer any kind of questions or problems or side effects that you might be experiencing to the best of their ability. And in my experience, they have responded. I think at most it was 2 or 3 days when it was a weekend, but they try to respond within 24 hours to the best of their ability. Of course, they did kind of get flooded with a lot of customers in the beginning trying to get access to this quickly. I don't really know what it means for Weight Watchers. I will be kind of watching the news to see what happens with Weight Watchers as we move forward. If you are one of the people who are trying to come off of the compound and go on to the Lilly Direct, either cash pay or trying to get it approved through your insurance, and you think maybe Weight Watchers Clinic may help, I do have the option down in my caption below for $25 off, and I believe it's also a first month free with Weight Watchers Clinic if you do want to try to get a prescription for the Eli Lilly's Zepbound or Mounjaro or whatever it happens to be, or even Novo Nordisk, whatever drug you are on. I think a lot of people at this time are likely going to be swapping over to semaglutide. I would just tell everyone to be a little more cognizant of some of your side effects and what's going on. And if you do have a lot of side effects switching over to semaglutide, then you might want to sit back and kind of think about what your options would be to try to get on to the name brand of Eli Lilly's Tirzepatide if you have been performing well with Tirzepatide. I personally have absolutely no intent or want or inclination to want to switch over to a semaglutide. I plan to stay on Tirzepatide. I also plan to stay on Tirzepatide even after the retatrutide is released, even though it is supposed to be like leaps and bounds better than the Tirzepatide. Just because I'm one of those people that likes to sit back and just kind of see how things go, let other people be the guinea pig for a while, and then I might swap. So that's kind of where I stand on all of this. Hopefully this was not an update that was like a slap in the face to all the people that have been telling me that compounds will never go anywhere ever, for the last 33 weeks. I think that it kind of comes with a little more understanding of how the FDA functions, how the FDA how the FTC, how legal teams within pharmaceutical companies are responding to this, which I come from that background. I think that I could kind of see the writing on the wall a lot longer than other people could. And yes, while compounding companies have been around for a very long time, they have never, to my knowledge, been compounding at this type of level that they have been compounding semaglutide and Tirzepatide within the United States. And when you really sit back and think about how much money they're making, because they're making hundreds of dollars off of a very tiny, tiny portion of a powder that they're obtaining and then mixing it with some type of B vitamin, alcohol, water, whatever they happen to be doing. Most of them are trying to figure out what type of B vitamin they can start mixing it with so that they can claim that it is not a replica of Eli Lilly's patented property. I would like to tell everyone, make sure that you're asking if you are getting a B3 or a B12 or a B6 or I don't know, vitamin C, whatever it is they're adding to their compounds, make sure that you are getting blood work with a local provider to ensure that it is not affecting you in any type of negative form or fashion. I, for instance, cannot take any type of B vitamin. It breaks my entire body out in hives. I itch all over. I have basically what looks like an allergic reaction to any type of B vitamin that is not just kind of naturally from some type of food source. So I wish everyone the best of luck, except for the people who have been making money off of all of you and also funding their own injectables every month. Those people can, in my opinion, hopefully they'll find something else that they can start hawking off to everyone in the near future. I will see you guys next week, where I will give you the full update. I will show you guys my injection that I did do. I did do the injection over here. Probably made myself deathly sick from it. Yeah, I know I shouldn't have done it. I should have just been like, well, guess what? I'm not taking my Zepbound this week because some random TSA decided that they basically wanted to just spread all their germs to me. But I took it, and I've been sick basically since taking it. So just everyone, please be careful. Be sure that you are knowledgeable about what it is that you are taking, and make sure that you have some type of provider who is running blood work on you and making sure that they are checking on you throughout this entire process. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.